Welcome back, people, to another episode of the Unquestioned podcast with Debaere and Willem Himpe.
We are back.
We missed you guys on this little summer break. It was, hopefully, I think so, well deserved for both of us. Louis, how was your holiday? Where did you go?
Roma.
Roma.
Once with the Ghent R and once with the Italian R.
So probably all day had little sips of Nespresso and all
Espresso,
ice cream.
yes.
Espresso, sorry.
Cafe, pasta, gnocchi,
Yes.
and ice cream.
Okay, sorry for that mistake. My sister works for Nestle and they're always, it's Nespresso.
I'm less interested in,
In
more
the-
interested in the business than in the coffee.
Okay. Perfect. Well, today again we have a good episode for you, and it's titled "The 7 Types of a Moat." And this is actually based off a book. Did you actually read this book, Louis?
I did not. I read a good summary on someone's blog.
Mm-hmm.
He summarized the ideas very well, and I'm going to add my own spin on top of it. But first, what is a moat?
Yes. What is a moat? That's actually, initially when you sent me this article, I didn't know what it was, and I researched it, and actually it says on Wikipedia, a moat is a deep, broad ditch, either with dry land or with water that is dug surrounding a castle or a town. So I was...
Oh, that's a literal moat.
That's a literal moat. And maybe for the listeners, what is then a moat for startups? Because I don't think every startup of every moat for a company has a ditch with water
or
around
a good,
it.
yeah, and let alone a good moat. Some of them don't have moats and they don't make it. So a moat is make sure you have a sustainable business, that you have a business at all in the long term. It prevents attackers, intruders, so meaning the competition, from entering your market or whatever customer base you have, whatever profits you're going to make now and into the future. So it basically is how sustainable is your business, how well protected is it from changes from the landscape, from other businesses that would enter the market and take some of your revenue and some of your profits.
Yeah, the larger the moat in a way, the more relaxed you as a company can be.
Yeah, exactly. You can sleep soundly. No one is gonna rob you of your fortune.
Okay, well, let's get straight into the first of the 7 moats, and the first is economics of scale. I think for many economists or many people that's a logical one. So what does that mean? Is that with every added product you produce, it will be a lot cheaper to produce once you have very large quantities. For example, you have a cupcake company. It's very expensive to make 10 cupcakes. We have to do everything manual. But if you have a whole factory, then it's very less expensive to add on top of the 1 million cupcakes you make, that one extra. But it's very expensive to add one in your kitchen when you only make 10 cupcakes. So that's a moat that another company cannot reproduce once you have the big factory, for example, with physical goods, and can produce on much larger scale with much lower costs of goods sold.
Or a car. The first prototype is insanely expensive, and then the more you make, actually, the cheaper it gets.
Yeah.
And it's hard to compete with that.
Correct. This is kind of a thing for strong, established companies. A little bit less for startups, but for startups it could work with code. So, for example, economics of scale, not for startups. I'm saying with extra. For example, once you already sold your software to one person or even a million people, it's very cheap to copy it again for the next person. So now we've seen an example of how it works with physical products, but let's translate now into software. How does the economics of scale work in the software business?
Yes, take Netflix as an example. Most of what they make actually goes back to the producers of the content, the makers of the TV shows and the movies shown on the platform. Obviously, it's the content that's what you come to see. So how can they be more make more profits? Because there's a certain limit. There's a certain ceiling to the profit that they can make.
Yeah, it's they're only the middleman. Netflix is a
yeah,
glass
exactly.
ceiling
Yeah,
to
they're
them.
delivering. So what do? I'm sure you've noticed that they have invested heavily into Netflix originals. A Netflix original is a TV show or series that they produce, meaning they have to produce it once, and then they can keep it on the platform forever, without having to pay the costly
Royalties or other
royalties,
stuff.
because they made it, so they own the intellectual property. And again, it's even gets better because it's exclusive to their platform, so you cannot find this content anywhere else. That's another benefit, locking you into their ecosystem.
Surface. Yeah, it's kind of funny the way I'm thinking about it now. It's a little bit vertical integration into the content world, because you say maybe
It is.
for Spotify, if they as well start having artists or other buy audiobooks every time a new person would listen to that audiobook or other stuff, and it would be owned by Spotify, that as well would be economics of scale.
Well, that's what happened with original podcasts.
Correct, and then it's nowhere else to be found. Okay, nice. I feel like let's go over to the second moat. What is the second moat? It is network effects.
Yes, the trendy word for a software business. I'm creating a platform.
Like say it's specialized into the social software.
Yes.
Why
not
is it so
only
important, Louis?
applicable to social networks. A network effect means that your platform, your website, your app gets more valuable, increasingly more interesting, more powerful, the more users join it. And that's super obvious for a social network, because if nobody's on it, it's worthless. If a few people are on it, it's still pretty worthless. But the more people join, the more interactions you can have, the more content is posted, the more people you can reach. So it actually goes exponential. There's even a law about this that says per user the network gets
twice or
exponentially better.
Yeah, I would say as well. Let's go straight into an example. Let's say Facebook. If only one friend of yours was on there, you will not stay on it. It's only when more and more friends come on it that you will stay there. You won't even be posting, but just it feels like you're part of that community. But the problem is, and for many startups that try a social media platform, is like you said, that inclination point when it suddenly goes exponential, and then suddenly everyone is on there.
You're talking about the growth,
the growth, and that's kind of practically super difficult to get.
That is the problem. How do you get this started? This problem is called the cold start problem, because why would you join a social network or a Uber or Airbnb with no content on it? You know, Airbnb gets more valuable with more homes and more hosts and more guests. So does Uber, but if nobody's there, why would you join it on the first place? It's a catch-22. How can it grow? How can it become valuable? That's the biggest problem you have to solve, and different companies did it in different ways. Tinder, for example, what use do you have for Tinder if nobody's on it?
Correct.
They would organize parties and free parties, and if you wanted to get in, you had to be on Tinder, and that's how they incentivized users to create an account. They gave you something else.
Yeah. Another example would be Reddit, but Reddit did maybe a bit rougher way. They started making a little bit more fake accounts and make a lot of like content that wasn't real by real users, but that as well made the ball roll.
Well, it was real content. It was just one person
on the
playing
different names,
10 different, having 10 different personalities.
So in a way, if it works, and it works, and they did it. And another famous CEO that as well, Debaere, that I would think to get the network effect rolling is if you start very niche in a small community, and that everyone in that community is on it, and then step by step that community grows and grows. Same exactly how Facebook did it with the Harvard
that is
community.
Peter Thiel, the first investor in Facebook's recommended approach as well is start with a niche. I mean, it's good practice for any business. eBay did this with power sellers, very special type of seller of certain collectibles. They would own that market and then expand to everything. Amazon started with books, long shelf life, limited catalog, long tail of content, and then it was always the idea to be the everything store, but you had to start somewhere, own the books, become the monopoly on books, expand that way.
I think that's me as a startup founder, that advice I got the most. Start with a super niche market and then expand.
Concentric circles, exactly.
Correct. I would say, so now, were you still going to say something?
No, go ahead.
So we already now had economics of scale, then the second one is a network effects.
Do we have time for one more?
I would say, let's go, why not? And you wanted to give one yourself.
Yes.
Which one is this?
Path dependence. Fancy word for I was here first. I'm the OG. WhatsApp.
What does that mean?
WhatsApp. Anyone can build a product like WhatsApp today.
Correct. It's basically just chatting.
With a few months or even for some people a weekend or two of engineering work. You can build a WhatsApp clone just like Meta recently cloned Twitter. You can build it. So what makes WhatsApp different? Well, they won a different kind of network effect. They were there first. Everybody is already on WhatsApp, so you can already rely on your friends to be there. So why would you switch? The cost is too high. Same with Bitcoin. Same with the iPad was the first tablet. So then you also get to own the word. Like how many which iPad do you have? Even if it's not an iPad, people call it an iPad because it was the first of its kind. And so Googling something, Google was the first search engine that actually worked. Now their secrets of how they did search is out, but they have become the monopoly.
So if you are completely first within that innovation or within that product or service you offer, then there's multiple kind of effects that it can have why people
the first one that works
you.
well.
So
you have to usually there's multiple people and then one of them figures it out, so it's more like the last mover's advantage compared to the first mover, but it's the last one that gets it and gets to own everyone because they figured out how to onboard the most users and to make them trust. And then you also have brand working for you. Why would I build my playlist on a different app if Spotify is there and my friends are on Spotify?
Because it's cool and so on. So but that's actually some moats for in the future. But
but as a last thing, you can have multiple of these things working together. So Spotify also has the marginal costs of replication, and then we have the network effect and the path dependence, all working together, and the brand.
Correct. The more moats you can have, the more, let's say, established and sustainable your business or your business model will be. But it's extremely difficult as a startup or as a company to obtain a moat. So this was part one of the first two, plus an extra bonus types of moats. So go to the next episode to listen for the next 5. So see you soon on the next episode of the Unquestioned podcast. Bye bye.
Ciao.